other authors are struggling with the same thing. Like there's another author who's got a mailing list and a site, and they're struggling to find how to branch out. And that's why you want to do this, is because it's you're tapping into other audiences. So
Hello, writers and crafters. I'm Valerie Isan.
and I'm Erick Mertz.
And this is episode 116 of the podcast. It's May 31st, 2023, as we record this. And today we're talking about marketing with other authors. We have a new patron this week, Sherry Lynn Clark. Thank you also to our existing patrons in believing in us and in the podcast. I wanted to read out her book description. She's taking advantage of the announcement, the free announcement that you can do if you are a patron of the podcast. So her women's fiction novel is called True Strength. There's going to be a link in the show notes where you can buy it on Amazon, but she also has it on her website as well. And that website is Author SLC, which is Sherry Lynn Clark. So authorslc.com. And the name of the book is True Strength. The description is, after Marissa's only child died and her husband abandoned her, it took her 6 grueling years to rebuild her life. She used Shorinji Kempo, a Japanese martial art, to help her work through her grief. Through martial arts, she found the confidence to advance in her career, restore old friendships and build new ones, as well as a possible love interest, something she never thought she would want again. But then, all of that is threatened when her estranged husband returns. He seems determined, desperate to have her back in his life, and he's not afraid to cause physical harm to get what he wants. Will she find the strength and courage to fight back, both physically and mentally, or will her warring emotions break her? So thanks to Sherry Lynn for becoming a patron, and I hope you all will go to check out True Strength, link in the show notes. There's also a free short story for folks that includes a scene of Marissa going to the martial arts class for the first time, and that's not in the book, and you can't get it anywhere else. So again, the website is authorslc.com. So the author update. Last week, I bought a class called AI for Authors by Joseph Michael. He's the Scrivener coach. I want to see if and how I can use ChatGPT as an author tool in my business. And once the class is out of beta, I'll have an affiliate link to the class for you. But I think the registration might be closed now, but you can check it out and get on the waiting list or something like that if you want. So Joseph Michael, the Scrivener coach, has just done a new course. So I'm going to check it out and not stick my head in the sand about AI and just check it out. And I can't have an opinion unless I understand it fully. I've been playing around a little bit with ChatGPT-4, just seeing what it can do. And it's fun to play with, but, I want to see if I can actually use it as a tool. And I've been doing a lot of socializing through this long weekend, so I'm kind of tired. Peopled out a little bit, but and
but yet you're here.
I am here. Yay. I do like people. Just
me too, but they wear me out
every single day doing something with somebody else. And I think I mentioned last week that I was working with ConvertKit's creator network, which is also in beta. So there's a link in the show notes for that as well, if you want to. So this is kind of maybe a little bit of a lead in for our topic later. So it's not really marketing with other people, but kind of it is. So it's a recommendation engine. So we can talk a little bit more about that later. What about you? What's your author update?
Oh boy, what have I been doing? I'm still kind of in the what am I going to do? I've got 2 books, like I've said, that are in the rewriting phase, and kind of at a place with both of them where like I have to decide how to proceed, and I'm waffling a little bit. Not waffling, just I haven't really figured out how I want to go about doing it. My writers group has read the second a book in the chronology. The first book has not been read by anybody but me. So I'm debating, like, I think I'm going to beg my writers group to be beta readers on that book and just say, like, I know you're reading 2 chapters every other week of this book, but why don't you read the one that comes before it? I don't know. Like, we'll see. So yeah, I haven't really decided what I'm doing. Actually, I keep putting off making that decision. But in the meantime, I've been working on a short screenplay that I've had like half finished for a long time. I actually have a friend that's going to tomorrow. He's going to produce a film with his film production crew, and we've been talking about it for a while. And it got me. I used to make movies all the time, and it got me thinking about this short that I had incomplete on my desktop. And so I've been kind of finishing that, putting the finishing touches, the polish on it, figuring out who I'm going to send it to. I would like to make a movie again sometime, see how that, that was a big part of my life probably 20 years ago. And I still enjoy it. I still listen to podcasts, and I still watch the DVD extras when it comes to, how we made this movie. It still gets me excited. So yeah, so that project I've been working. There's a lot of unfinished things on my desk. So I think I'm going to take some of this little indecisive time to finish things off.
That's a great idea. Finish off all the little bits and bobs, as the English say.
The bits and bobs, right?
Bits
Yeah,
and
there's a
bobs.
bunch of them. So I'm gonna knock out a few of them and see if they don't go anywhere. But
What are you reading?
I finished
Just Kids.
Just Kids. God, such a great book.
Nice.
Oh man, just like this depiction of New York City. It's just a depiction of a world that's not there anymore. And I think we all romanticize. And up to the very end was just touching and heartfelt. And so, like, you don't even have to know who Patti Smith and Robert Mapplethorpe are to just get sucked into this,
nice,
like romantic and platonic love story. So yeah, highly recommended book, super good. And now I'm reading something called Burning Air by Aaron Kelly. The Burning Air. It's another sort of domestic thriller. Thank you, Mom. And she's got boxes of them. She's got boxes of them that are like on top of other boxes of them she didn't remember. So yeah, this is again just kind of like a British domestic thriller. Seems like it's about a family coming back together after a long time and something has happened. That's a familiar trope, but we'll see where it goes. What about you?
This is crazy. I'm still reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I'm really, really enjoying it. And I have finally like cleared off all of the other little books that I was reading. So now every time I'm reading, it is this book. So I'm getting through it faster than I have been before.
Right.
I'm about 3/4 of the way through, I think. And it's really getting good and I'm really enjoying it. So
cool.
Good plug. Yep. Invisible Life
Yeah,
of Addie LaRue.
I'm eager to hear when that one's going to be done.
Have you read it?
No, but like you've been reading it for a while, and usually, a little
I
summary.
read through faster than
yeah, and there's usually like a little summary at the end that gives me a good idea of what it was about, but I'm still waiting.
Still waiting. Well, the blurb, so here was my one like I said, I don't know exactly how far through it I am. I'm definitely past the midpoint mark. And so the blurb gave away like the midpoint turning point, I guess. And so I kept like, to me, that is the inciting incident, like the thing that, and it says it right in the blurb, I'll tell you, but I just expected it to happen much, much sooner. So that's the only part that I'm like, that's interesting. Like all of this beforehand was necessary for character development and, plot. And so it goes back and forth between 2014 in New York and like 1794 or something like that in France. And the woman, Addie LaRue, is in both timelines. So she's been cursed and she is forgettable. Nobody ever remembers her after they walk away. So if I
Okay.
meet you at a coffee
Weird.
shop and then I see you later that day at a party, I will have no memory of you whatsoever, and I'll have to meet you all over again. So that's what she's living with. And on the front cover, or the, the book description, it's, says she's going through all this life, and then somebody remembers her.
Oh, there's
So
your hook.
that's the hook. Well, I thought that was the hook, like that was
It's
why.
not.
Well, I mean, to me, a hook happens at the beginning of the book, you know what I mean?
No, true, true,
So
true.
that has just recently happened. So that's like the middle of the book. Somebody remembers her. So you do need to experience what her life is like, being this forgettable person and not being able to
Right.
leave your mark on the world, and not having a home, and she can't have any possessions, nothing, she does not leave a mark on the world. So she
Mm,
can't have a cell phone, she can't have, like, nothing works if she's touching on the screen, like, she doesn't make any difference to the world. So
weird.
living with that for hundreds and hundreds of years, and just how that would wear you down. And so it's an
Uh,
interesting, character study too. And it goes back, like I said, back and forth between, when it first happens, and then after 300 years of living with it, and different perspectives and stuff. So it's all interesting. And now, midpoint, someone knows who or remembers her, doesn't know who she is, but she's now having a relationship of a different
right,
kind for the first time in
right.
hundreds of years. So anyway, it's
That's very
interesting.
Twilight Zone. It's got a
Yeah.
Twilight Zone feel to it
But
to me.
I'm surprised that they, I mean, it is the hook. That's why you would read the story. Like, oh my God, what would happen if this were your life and then someone suddenly remembered who you were? That's fascinating. But
Right.
again, I would have thought that would have come much earlier in the book, and it didn't.
Yeah, I could see that.
Okay.
You ready to segue?
I think we're ready to segue. So,
Marketing with other people.
with other people. And I guess we should caveat that with, like, what we're talking about is the collaborative efforts that a person would do in order to market. So we've gone through marketing basics, we've gone through, like, marketing from the ground up, we've talked about marketing that we own. We've talked a lot about marketing on this podcast because it is one of those topics that is evergreen long term,
Yes.
but also, like, everybody's talking about it, and want, with every book it's different, with every place you are in your author journey it's different. And sometimes you would do the kind of marketing like paid advertising, and sometimes you're not in your author journey or book journey where that's viable. Maybe you don't have the budget for it. So we've talked about marketing in lots of different ways, but we've never talked about how to do it with another person on purpose.
On purpose,
On
right.
purpose, like,
Well, and let's sort of tag this on to the last stuff we talked about. One of those realities is that when you market your blog, your stuff, like there's a lot you can do for yourself, right? You can build a website, you can build that website so that it's SEO optimized, you can run a regular blog, you can use social media to broadcast what you're doing. And those are all very like tried and true practices that are going to work. There happens to be other things that you can do after that where you're marketing you're doing things with other people that also signal to, Google to audiences that you're out there. So I think that once an author has kind of created the foundation, that being a strong website or a strong, newsletter or what have you, and you're marketing it to your people, there comes a time when it just is advantageous to start marketing it out and start swapping with other people, because it begins to feel marketing, when you get into it at a certain point, it begins to feel like you're kind of in a silo, right? You're just like,
Mhm.
I'm talking to my people, I'm talking to these people. And what you should realize, I realize, is that there's a silo right next to you where
Mm.
other authors are struggling with the same thing. Like there's another author who's got a mailing list and a site, and they're struggling to find how to branch out. And that's why you want to do this, is because it's you're tapping into other audiences. So I don't know which you'd like to, like, where you'd like to begin. I mean, there's a lot of places to go. My first thought is always like the newsletter swap, since we were
Yes.
talking,
Mm-hmm.
about our new patron, and I actually just went on and signed up for her mailing list while we were talking.
Me
And
too.
you did too? Oh my gosh. So there we
Yes.
go. I love it. I love it. This is how it works. So when you have that mailing list, that is a perfect example of how to build it organically. You go through, you seek marketing opportunities, but there will come a point when it's advantageous to go outside. So newsletter swaps are now, back in the old days, before this is a real, like, talk about a caveat. It used to be in the old days that people would sell their newsletter uh subscribers. Like this used to be a very common practice where, like, if I had a mailing list of 10,000 women's fiction subscribers and another author wanted, like, I could sell that to them, and that was considered that was considered okay. That is no longer okay. So when we say swap, this isn't you taking your list and then giving the whole list to someone to put onto their mailing list. A mail letter swap is more along the lines of, hey, you've got your mailing list and I have mine. Why don't I'll introduce my mailing list to you, and you introduce me to your mailing list. And so this is just an opportunity to, as if you are an authority to your mailing list, like your mailing list has been hearing from you, they like your books, they like what you have to say about the genre, you're coming to them with, hey, this is a cool new author, why don't you check them out? That can be really advantageous to that author, right? That can be a really big boom to them. Those are new subscribers. They've been proven, I don't know if that's the right, they've been proven to be active, strong subscribers to that other person's mailing list, and they could very well be that for you.
So let's talk just a teeny bit about the logistics of newsletter swaps, like how you find someone else to do this with. I mean, we've talked a little bit about the organic part, like
Right.
you're in your silo and then, oh, my writers group has this other mystery author and
Right.
they're in their own silo too. So, hey, let's, you're networking at that point and you actually know a person and
Right.
you can set up that organic kind of newsletter swap like you just said. But then you know, there are the
There's a
global
lot of other
ones.
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how else do you do it besides the organic? Hey, you're a writer too. Let's swap.
Well, I would go, so just to go a little further on that one, I think it's like that's always going to be your best. Okay. And so you want to use those as much as you can. I think it's important to also um this is how I would use social media the most. Like, I think it's the most advantageous way as an author. I've used advantageous like 5 times. I've used that word a million times. Get me a thesaurus. But I think it's beneficial. There's my brain thesaurus working. It's beneficial to get on those groups of like mystery authors on Facebook, or like whatever that group is that you can be a part of. Like that, those are people looking to market. So if you're going to reach out just in the first level of anonymity, I would go to those. Find authors in groups of the similar genre that are working in the same way, and ask them. If you're a subscriber to something like BookFunnel, Story Origin, Author XP, I think does it too. Those are places you can just sign up for newsletter swaps. Authors will go on to these services. They'll list, I'm Erick Mertz. I have a paranormal mystery mailing list. It's 4,000 people. My open rate is 30%. I mean,
So,
people want to see that you have a list with numbers and with percentages.
and so you're setting up an author profile on those places?
Yeah, if
Okay.
you're a subscriber to either any one of those services, you'll have something of a profile. They're all very different. Story Origin's a little more like a social media profile where somebody could come on and explore you. Whereas Authors XP is really not like that. But regardless, you set yourself up to use their tools, and then basically what you're doing is just kind of putting a call out there. You put the call out, people sign up for your mailing list, or sorry, for your newsletter swap, and then you just execute. You just get with that person and say, all right, I have a newsletter coming out on June 15th. I'll put you on that, and then and there's some really specific things people look for. Exclusivity. I mean, that's something you're going to want. You don't necessarily want to be one of 10 authors featured on a mailing list. There's some people out there that are, I don't want to say like there's like a lack of personal touch, but there's a lot of people out there who are churning as much of this as they can. They're going to list 10 people if they can get 10 people because they're trying to build that list really fast. You might not want that. I don't want that. So I seek people who are more exclusive, like, hey, I'll feature you. And I think newsletter swaps are a great way to, again, you're not going to get the same numbers that you get if you go out and like just do, kind of like the group promos. We'll talk about that in a moment. Group promos get you big numbers, but the people you get from newsletter swaps are generally, these are the readers that other author has cultivated over a long period of time. They're legit. They've been here for a while. They actually buy books. You want those people. They've done some of the weeding out for you. So,
and I don't know if this fits nicely into any of what you're planning on talking about, but I also know that from personal experience too, that if you as a reader sign up for one of these newsletter swaps, I guess, how do I say that? So at the end of your newsletter, Erick, author,
right.
you have these, like a banner where you can click on, spooky stories for October or whatever. And if I enter my email address into that, then I receive tell us how that works on the reader end.
So that's generally the same incentive you would use to sign up a newsletter subscriber anywhere else.
Okay.
When I go on someone else's, I give them, here's the link to my free book. Here's the thing that I'm promoting. And you can promote anything. You can promote, this is my permanently free book. This is my sale book. You can kind of do whatever works for you. I have a guy that I've swapped with a bunch of times, and he's definitely got something different all the time. Sometimes mostly it's his permanent free book, but there's often like, this is my sale book. This is this. So he's just looking for other opportunities to get other material out there. But in general, that's what it is. It's just, you're going to appear as the author. You're going to appear on someone's newsletter in whatever format they are, they use. It's going to be, hey, check out Erick Mertz writes these things. Check him out. This is, here's his free book, and here's a little bit about him. And then, there'll be that button, get that free book. They'll then go into into that funnel where they download the book, and then their email comes into your onboarding sequence, and away they go. It's the same thing that would happen if they were doing a promotion, only it's more targeted to that person's mailing list.
So my experience as a reader with what I assumed was a newsletter swap was, I put my email address in to get this book from this author that I was following. And then my email address went to everybody else that was in that. Maybe this is a bundle that I'm thinking of,
so that would
rather
be
than
like
a
a
newsletter
promotion.
swap. Okay.
That would be so it's slightly different.
Okay. So before we talk about that, I guess the important part I wanted to put out there, and you've hinted at it already, is making sure that these people are in your genre, but maybe also in like the subgenre. Because as a consumer, like I got a whole bunch of, I got put on a whole bunch of other people's lists that I wouldn't necessarily have had read, because it was in the genre, but like, maybe you read paranormal romance, maybe that's your jam, and you got put on just this generic romance list, and now you've got
billionaire
military
bad boy.
right.
Yeah.
So be when you're looking to sign up for these newsletter swaps, really look for the sub genre, so that when you
Absolutely.
are telling your personal list, hey, check this out, it's really cool, that you're not sending them to places that they wouldn't read. Then you're going to
Right.
lose credibility with your audience.
I think it's fair if you're an author to, you have to be discerning. I agree 100%. You have to look at that, your list, and look at the person asking to get on your swap and say, this is not. But if you feel like, if you write paranormal romance and the other person, maybe it's Regency romance is what they do or something like that. I mean, it's up to you how far you want to, because not everybody on your list is going to be exclusively one
Mm-hmm.
subgenre. But you have a great point. If you do paranormal romance, that sort of bad boy billionaire, romance, and there's God, the romance, talk about subgenres. I don't know how
Right.
people like market romance because it's so subgenred out. Um, but
And you've got
you
like
really,
clean romance too versus spicy. Like
yeah,
there's that
Christian
whole
romance,
range
steamy
too.
romance, spicy, yeah, steamy and spicy are different things. And,
Mhm.
and that's where people like, that's where that author, you're relying on that author to be specific. They need to know what their subgenres are, what their readership is, and whether or not that's a fit. So it's a good point. I think what you got into, and this is a segue, is to a group promotion. um, Group promotions for me have been the baseline um, for building a mailing list. It's inefficient as far as like getting good subscribers. It's efficient in getting large numbers. It's a great way just to get whoever is out there. But the way it works very similarly. So instead of swapping between newsletters, an author will create a promotion. That promotion will be, I can probably find an email in a second advertising one of these, but it will be a, hey, I'm doing a promotion in the month of June for paranormal romance authors. Send me a full book, and and so then that promoter will take all those books, put them in a big banner ad or something, and promote it through a site. And those authors then take, there's a master link to the promotion, and then they go in and then they'll advertise that to their mailing list, or they'll advertise it on social media, wherever else. And people see the ad, they click on the book, they can download all the free books that they want. And every one of the free books that they download goes to the same newsletter funnel. So that's probably what you did. You clicked on something, there was 70 books, 70 authors marketing it. Once you put your email in it, boom, every one of those authors got your email, and they put you in their funnels, and away they went.
Mm-hmm.
It's for that reason, it's very inefficient. If you as an author go look at these promotions and look at the books that you're promoting with, let's say it is paranormal romance, you might look at 75 other books in this promotion, and maybe 15 of them will be in your genre, where it'll say the covers, it's got the cover really matters here, because if someone's downloading books and they're looking for paranormal romance and your book looks like, oh, that looks like a clean Christian romance, or what's the Western, or, rural romance, they're not
Mm-hmm.
going to download it. So, but the point is, yeah, you get on there, and and then as the author, you'll get 1,000 emails in a Excel file, and you add those to your mailing list. Highly inefficient, but big
So
numbers.
when you get that, have you done that personally?
I
The
do.
group
I probably
promo,
do. I do like 3 to 5 of those every month. I'm just running one all the time, and it's I put them at the bottom of my email,
the
my
group
newsletter.
promo you're talking about
Yeah, yeah. I do
specifically?
a group. Yeah, and it's a
So when
simple.
you get a whole bunch of people that deluge, like into your into MailerLite, are you going through and cleaning that up on a regular basis, or does that kind of self-resolve and they just unsubscribe at the point that they don't,
I
like if
clean
they're
the
not a
mailing
good
list.
fit?
Yeah, I mean, I clean the mailing list myself periodically, probably like every 6 months. But however, there is a natural weeding out of that. You put people through the funnel, people unsubscribe while they're in that onboarding sequence. they'll unsubscribe on your first email, because it's just not something they want, or they're a free seeker, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just someone who wants free books, and they're going to fill their Kindle with free books, and they're never going to buy anything, and that's fine. It's but your numbers there, if you look at just by pure percentages, I have the stats somewhere. It's a pretty dismal percentage. So if 25% of the people who subscribe to your author swap efforts become good readers, regular readers, regular openers, newsletter readers, people who buy books, it's probably 8 to 10% on a promotion. So that's a pretty small number. It's not great. But when you're starting out and you're trying to build those numbers,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost a necessary evil to do some mass work, I guess. I mean, it's just
And you do 3 to 5 a
volume.
month?
I do probably 3 a month, actually. I've brought it down because one of the things, so here's something that you need to know as an author. Your reputation here matters. What makes these promotions work, whether or not that's a group promotion or a newsletter swap, is you are relying on that other person to follow through. Here's a bulletin board, people, that you should, on all collaborative efforts, not everybody does what they say they're going to do. And sometimes you get into a newsletter swap and you say, okay, you're going to promote my newsletter on June 1st. And then you go look at your stats for June 1st and nobody signed up for your newsletter. They probably didn't promote it.
Mm-hmm.
Or that newsletter, that group promo goes out and that relies on people promoting it. Like if people don't promote the group newsletter, the group promotion, nobody's ever going to see it. So everyone's relying on everyone else. There are people who just don't. I have run group promotions with 50 authors and just kept track, and probably 10% of them just don't promote it. So your reputation matters, and most of these websites like BookFunnel, Story Origin, Authors XP to a lesser extent, they keep track of your reputation. When you go and ask to join a promotion, that person who runs the promotion can look and say, oh, they share this, I'll let them on my promotion. If your reputation is bad and it says, hey, this person doesn't do what they say they're going to do, they're not going to let you on the promotion, and they shouldn't let you on the promotion because you're not doing what you said you're going to do. So it's good to be transparent. If you have a really small list, if you got 50 people and that's it, and you sign up, I would just be really frank with the promoter and say, hey, I've only got 50 people, but I will promote it. That's how you build your reputation. People get to trust you. So it's tough. It's tough. I mean, you have to go for volume at a certain point. At this point, most readers are inundated with email marketing. This is just how they're targeted. So you really have to do a lot of weeding out and that kind of thing.
So what is the difference between newsletter swaps and group promos, though? They sound very similar to me.
They're very similar. You start with the same link. In a newsletter swap, I am approaching you. Hey, Valerie, you write the same thing. I like Valerie Brooks, fellow Oregon author. We did a newsletter swap. I gave her my link. She gave me hers, and I promoted her book to my list, and she promoted my book to her list. That was a simple straight across, like, we're now buddies and let's promote each other's stuff. Actually, we're going to do a lot of stuff together because she's my people and I like her. A group promo will be, I just go onto one of these. I go onto BookFunnel every Thursday morning and just look at it and say, all right, there's a promo that I can be in. I sign up for it. It puts my link into this group promo, and the other 50 authors and I, once the promo starts running, market it. We just put it out in our newsletters, put it out on social media, offer it wherever we can, and build up those numbers. So it's similar. It's a collaborative effort. Just the newsletter swap is more personal. It's like a highlighted feature on you versus something more anonymous and
and part of a group of 70 other authors or something like that. So then bundles, that was the other thing. So bundles sound like it's kind of like that group promotion, actually.
It's very similar. Very similar. A bundle will be a group promotion where instead, so when a group promotion that was just talking about is you click on the page that has the group promotion on it, and there's, let's say, 75 books, and I'm using that number, just like pulling that number out of the air, but that's about how big these promotions are. And you'll just see 75 covers, and you'll click on the ones you want, like, oh, I want that one and that one and that one. You click on it, it takes you off board to that author's free book page, and you click on it. So it would take a little time, but you could download all 75 of those books and you'd have them. It's different in the bundle, is that's where you sign up, you add your name to the list. This is what happened to you. And then at the end of the month, whenever that promotion is done, you get emailed all 75 of those books in a bundle, and you've just been added to 75 mailing lists like that. So there's less, you don't have any control as the reader over what gets clicked on and what doesn't. There is the risk in the promotion, right? Because again, all the reader is doing is opening up a page which features all the book covers that are in the promotion. There's a chance if your book doesn't match the promotion that you might not get any clicks. There's a chance, right? You might not get as many clicks as others. However, in a bundle, you're guaranteed you're gonna. And I join a bundle every 3 months. There's a good on Authors XP. There's a mystery, detective, paranormal bundle. I think it's about 600 to 700 emails every time, and
you do that how often? I'm just taking notes here.
Like every 3 to 4 months. She runs, Amy Van Sant runs Authors XP, and she runs a book bundle. She runs a book bundle every month, but it's a different genre. So there's the romance book bundle, but she runs a detective mystery and paranormal bundle. Again, 600 to 700 new subscribers all at once, but the open percentage is fairly low on those. Still, I've gotten some loyal readers out of those. So for the price of joining, the bundles will cost money.
Okay.
To join a bundle will cost money. Promotions and author swaps are free. We're getting close to the end, but I do want to mention blog swaps.
Okay.
Blog swaps for more of your nonfiction, your blog are key, because this is where I have a blog on my website, you have a blog on your website, and we agree. I will write a blog as a guest blogger on your website. You write a guest blog on my site. So that means you're going to give me an article that I'm going to put on my website with your name on it. It's like, hey, everyone, Valerie's going to talk about this. And then it'll be your content. And featured at the end of that is the link to your website. And then usually when I do a blog swap, I do it with, someone like I will then write the blog for their website. These are incredibly valuable if you're in the nonfiction space, because Google really likes what's called it's a link. It's called a backlink. The link that you put on your blog that goes on my site, Google loves, because that shows that your website is credible. Like, oh, Erick's website put a link to Valerie's website on it. Valerie's website must be legitimate. So that gives you a boost. Same thing on the other way around. When my link goes on your site, it says, wow, Erick's site must be legitimate. He's on her website. That's called backlinking. And that's an incredibly powerful way to draw not only the people who read your blog, who see, oh, wow, this person, Valerie, sounds cool. I'm going to get in touch with her. It works for that direct, like, person-to-person marketing, but in that sort of bigger and tangible, sharing the marketing burden of like building SEO power, you want that as well, because again, Google looks at it like really, really big. And the bigger the website that you're sharing with, the better it is for you. So there's something called domain authority. We won't get into that, but basically domain authority is Google's look at your website, and it's like, how much authority do you really have? We're going to put a number on it. Like CNN has an authority of like 100, because everybody knows it's the biggest news site in the world, or one of the biggest news sites in the world. So if you were to put a blog on CNN's website, Google would love that, because you're like, oh, you must really be legitimate, because this website that has all this power is linking to you. That's incredible. So I'm not going to, I wouldn't tell anybody to go out and seek to link with other, like, you have to be a prestigious site. It's good just to meet with your peers. Like, even if your sites have about the same traffic, it's still a boost to both of you to share a blog with other people. And if you have a regular readership on your blog, they like you and they trust you. It's good to show that you trust other people. It's just good personal marketing. So, if you're even if you're just even if you're an author, this can still help you because you're sharing, again, you're sharing some of that marketing burden with someone else. You'll get a regular weekly blog taken care of, written by somebody else on your site.
Mm-hmm.
It works for
Win-win.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So much more to say, but we've run out of time. So yeah, if you've got any questions or
Please.
ideas, please hit us up on the Facebook group page, WriterCraft, or you can email us, writercraftpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for
I'll
talking with
just,
me.
well, I was going to say as a last note, just like these are definitely some proceed with caution areas.
Mm-hmm.
Marketing with people is great because 9 out of 10 people are great and you will love the experience, and there'll be relationships that you treasure. Like I said about Valerie Brooks,
Mm-hmm.
such a great relationship already. But you do need to worry about, there are some people out there that are just not community based. They're just trying to get numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want someone building numbers on your back. You really want to share the load. So if you do have questions, please send them, because if you're getting into something that feels icky or like, too salesy or not personal, or someone's kind of treating you like that, like, just be very aware. It's real. I've been taken advantage of too. So
All right. Words to live by.
yeah, definitely.
You should write a book, Words to Live by Erick
Words.
Weiss.
It's just a bunch of quips, just a bunch of things I've
Deep
said.
Thoughts by Jack Handy.
Oh gosh, don't get me started. I'm not going to stop laughing all day if we
Okay.
start
All
talking
right.
deep
All
thoughts.
right.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
very much.
talking
This
with
was
me.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye for now.
Bye bye.